Good morning. No need for glasses. So this is the first Facebook Live I've done in a while, a few days at least. And I am here at Pier Park, Panama City Beach. I'm assuming that you can hear me because I have my earbuds in, but if it seems like my mouth is moving and no words are coming out, please let me know. I would appreciate that. Good morning. So apparently I can bring people on camera, but I won't right now. But good morning, Penny. Thank you for joining. So I am doing my thing quite typically in the morning. Oh great, you can hear me. Perfect. Hi Shelly. I loved your picture, by the way. Good morning. So I am on the beach as per usual. I get out here virtually every morning. So every morning, and I like Pier Park because they have placed these benches here for me. So there's not too many places on the beach that I can already have a bench. And this is where I'll be bringing my dog, incidentally. So because this is one of the spots on the beach that you can bring your pet. Oh, good morning, Elena. Thank you. Okay, great. You can hear me. I have my new, I have the Apple earbuds in, so just technically, it's nice to know that it's working. That's awesome. So you can see I have a sunrise happening now, quite typically. Around this time it happens. And I'm here every single morning, or just about every single morning, to honor that and respect it and pay attention to it and tune into it. So normally I do a little bit of seated meditation. I think I've shown the Emperor's Posture, and the Throne of Perception is a meditation that I do often still. So it's really nice to come out and sit on these benches and sit cross-legged before everybody storms the beach. So today will be a nice day. I do imagine that the beaches will fill pretty quickly. How are you guys? I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. I don't remember what day today is. I don't know if I should be wishing you the beginning of a fantastic week or a fantastic weekend, but Saturday. It's Saturday. So I hope you guys have a great Saturday. And I'm going to talk about a subject that I feel inspired to share about. Just about everything that I share, of course, I feel inspired to share about. But oh, good morning, Colleen. Melbourne, Australia. That's so cool. I love the internet's ability to reach across the planet. That's so cool. So today's video, the Facebook Live that I'm doing today, is on the nature of limiting beliefs. So a limited belief, they're everywhere. Our society, the way that we have been fashioned, you know, the way that we're constructing our life situation is built around many limited systems of belief, or even limited ideas, individual ideas of what people can do and what people can't do. There's snow on the ground, Tim says. Well, there's beautiful white sand here, almost like snow, right? Sorry. Almost like sand. It is a little bit chilly here in the morning, but we'll get up to a very sunny 74 degrees with the hot sun. It's delicious. So this is a perfect weather. Hi, Victoria. Oh, nice. From Cleveland. I have an amazing Tai Chi teacher friend who lives near Cleveland. So that's great. I love you as I hate you. I'm familiar with that. Awesome, from New York City. Just left New York City a couple weeks ago. So, very cool. I'll be back. New York City desperately could use an Academy of Conscious Creation. So the nature of limited beliefs. This is a very simple premise, a very simple concept. The language of the universe is simplicity. It's only the mind. Words, concepts, dialogue that makes things more difficult than they ever needed to be. So let's look at some limited beliefs. Limited beliefs actually start out very simple, or they can at least, in terms of limiting what you can and can't do. That's a very basic premise, right? Limiting your potential. limiting your individual potential to do whatever it is that you want to do. These are very basic aspects of a limited belief. So for example, somebody who's getting a little bit older, they've had maybe 60, 65 rotations around our star. They're starting to identify with the belief that maybe 60 years is old. That's a limiting belief. When we start believing that we're old, when we start believing that we can't do things, guess what? You get old. You can't do things. It's the nature of the belief that is driving the experience. What you believe is what you are experiencing in terms of the direction of the mind and the direction of the thought. If that doesn't make sense, just send me just throw that down there in chat, and at any time I could elucidate on some of these principles and concepts. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the millions of limited belief, but the nature of a limited belief is essentially anything that is limiting yourself. You know, anything that you want to do in this life, if you believe that there's something preventing you from it, if you yourself believe that it's unattainable, guess what? It will be unattainable. That is the nature of limited belief. You are creating your reality whether you're aware of it or not. The law of attraction and creating our life circumstance doesn't require your agreement. It's the way the universe works. Penny, we'll talk about that. I saw you walk. I saw you leave your house. You know, I've seen you walk down the street. So the nature of a limited belief would be saying, I can't. When we start sentences out with, I can't, that is a limited belief, because quite frankly, anything that you put your mind to, you can accomplish. I can understand that, Penny. Yeah, it can feel difficult, especially when the mind is creating the difficulty. Think of that, Penny. Is there any force of nature that's keeping you inside your house? Is it, you know, is there gale force winds on your doorstep or something? Of course not. Anything that is keeping you inside is simply being created in your mind. And now, although it's simple, it doesn't always seem that way. When someone tells me that I can do this or that, I simply tell them, I'm sorry, but I'm not a part of... Okay, I gotta hit the... Not a part of your belief system. Elena, I'm assuming you say that when somebody says you can't, right? When somebody says that you can't do something, you most likely say, okay, yeah, I was the same way. Hi, Tripty, good morning. So the phone's shaking just a little bit because I have a tripod in the mail. So I'll be able to set up a little tripod so I can do my Facebook Lives on location like a weatherman. Like a weatherman. Hi, this is Ernest reporting from the beach. It's fucking fantastic here. The weather is beautiful, the wind is beautiful, the sun is beautiful, the ocean is beautiful, and I see dolphins. That's my weather report. Signing off. You can call me the weatherman. I'm just kidding. Hi, Kristen. Beautiful. Thank you for joining me. So we're talking about the nature of limited beliefs. Any limiting belief is, I can't. Now, what's really funny in this construct that we're living in this, I call it the island of the practical, but you can call it what you want. Oh, good night from Japan. Awesome. Japan, Australia, England, all over the US. It's cool to be able to reach people. It's nice to see you guys too. I took a little time off of Facebook because my family visited from Champaign. Hi Ernest, how do I identify subconscious limiting beliefs? So this would be a whole other Facebook Live, but I don't buy into subconscious. And here's the reason why. Well, here's one of the reasons why, is because some of these philosophies and some of these things that are being created in the scientific or any type of academic setting, it was created by people with no peace. Freud, for example, that man had no peace. So I really don't listen or take all of that. Well, I take it with a grain of salt. I'll just say that. So that is an entire Facebook Live where I completely debunk this mystery of subconscious. Because it's as if it's another layer of your consciousness that's just under, and that's simply not the case, and I can prove it. But not today. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the limited beliefs that we have that have evolved from the construct that we're living in. and specifically the limiting beliefs that are placed on us by other people. When people say that you can't, and this is what was mentioned just a little bit ago, you know, anytime somebody tells me that I can't do something, I give them that look. No, maybe you can't, but I can. Anything that I put my mind to, I can do. In a relaxed way, in a way that doesn't require force, in a way that is going with rather than against the principles of the universe. It's called the art of allowing. And that, again, is a completely different Facebook Live. So I can debunk this idea of subconscious that keeps bubbling up, Freudian psychology. Yeah, fuck that. There's no such thing. There are things happening in your brain that are both anatomic and that you are simply not aware of. Does that mean that you can never be aware of it? That's a limiting belief. So, yeah, I'll talk about that in a completely different Facebook Live. But I really want to focus on one of the limiting beliefs. One of the limiting beliefs that's the most prevalent in our construct of society, and that is being perpetuated from the construct of other. Hi Prita, good morning. Thanks for joining me. So we have a beautiful sunrise happening. Soon it will get over those buildings, and you have some of the college kids who are either still drunk from last night and then just making it to the hotels, or they're out a little bit early. So one of the limited beliefs that I never understood growing up, that we can't take full responsibility for every single thing that happens in our mind. Our stream of internal dialogue, self-talk. This is where the belief system is perpetuated. This is where the belief systems fundamentally exist in the stories that we tell ourselves. Oh, thank you, Georgina. Hi, Sarah. Good morning. So I don't have anything clever I can place my phone on today. So it is a little bit shaky. I apologize for that. But I do have a tripod coming, so I'll be able to deliver Facebook Lives on location without the shaking camera, because it's a little bit windy. So one of the most fundamental limiting beliefs is, and I know you've heard it, only human. No. See, I don't buy that. I don't buy excuses for not being able to rein in my own stream of internal dialogue and thinking. So let's break this down. Let me break this down in a very clear way. Every single person watching this is thinking in the language that they predominantly speak. Unless you're around other speakers, and then you most likely think in the language that, you know, the people that you're around. This is a very simple premise. You know, I'm not shocking the world with this information, I'm sure. But the internal stream of words going through your mind is limited. Why? Because all language and all concept comes from language, by the way. If you take away language, there is no such thing as conceptual identification. You cannot conceptualize without language. So we create language which gave birth to conceptualization so that we could communicate. Language has a purpose, to communicate. That way we can talk to each other, and we can learn, and we can teach, and we can grow, and we can evolve. And then at some point, I don't know when, maybe this is the real falling from Eden, we started to identify with that stream of words going through our brain as who we are. Does that make sense? So a lot of people are still under the assumption that that's all they are. That is the totality of the human experience, is thinking in words, thinking in dialogue all the time. And as anybody with anxiety or depression or any type of you know, mental thing happening, it's all being perpetuated by the streams of internal dialogue. Buddha said, and I've updated his saying, and I hope there's no Buddhists here who mind that, but Buddha said that all suffering is from an attachment to the illusion of self. So I don't use the word illusion. My friend Tim has helped me steer away from that terminology, because then it gets really confusing for people. So I use the word construct of self. So all suffering comes from the attachment to the construct of self. What is the construct of self? Words, concepts, beliefs. All beliefs are conceptual. All beliefs can potentially be a trap if you let them. Oh, hi Carly, thanks for joining. Here I am, Sugar Sand Beaches, Pier Park. I'm going to head to St. Andrews today to get my steps and my exercise in. And then I have my balls with me. I have my Tai Chi balls because I'm going to do a little Tai Chi ball out here on the beach in a few moments. So the limited belief that is perpetuating our society, number one, is that we are just our stream of internal dialogue, the story that we tell ourselves. So the difference between me and I suppose some of the other people who are talking about these things is I don't believe that the self is an illusion. It's constructed, that's true, but it's pretty fucking real to me. I just don't have to identify to it. I don't have to attach to it. I don't have to cling to it. What happens? I don't get offended. You can't offend me because I have no construct of self to defend. You can't make me angry because there's no construct of self to build up that kind of anger. It just doesn't exist in me anymore. So those things simply just don't exist in my experience anymore. So here's the limiting belief that I'd like to focus on. That we cannot master our minds. Bullshit. You can. I can. It's completely possible. So we're talking about the internal stream of dialogue, words going through your mind, as most people are starting to identify with, or they've identified from grade school, perhaps. It's being taught to us. We're taught to identify with our stream of thinking as who we are, and all that we are. The construct of self is yet another aspect of the infinite totality of the human experience. I am all of this. I am not just a thinking mind. I am not just Ernest. Thank you, Kristen. Bullshit, we can. It's true. We can. We can master our minds. We can master our intellectual thought processes, and in a way that's not boot camp for the brain. In a way that isn't using force, that isn't going against. There is a way for each person here watching this Facebook Live, whether it's with me or whether it's on your own, it doesn't matter. Everybody can master their mind, their stream of thinking. So you don't have to answer, but how often are you thinking repetitive thoughts? Thoughts that you've thought maybe hundreds of times, thousands of times. There's a lot of research that shows that the majority of the thoughts that you're thinking today, you've already thought yesterday and the day before and the day before. At what point does our thinking... Hi, Angela. So very soon I'm going to start bringing you guys on for Facebook Lives. I'll start adding you and bringing you on to the camera, because it looks like I can just press that button and it happens. We'll see. Shit, if that's the case, I can cancel the Zoom that's costing me $50 a month and I can just bring people here. Well, it's nice to see you too. Good morning, Sandy. So the mind, in terms of the internal stream of dialogue, talking to yourself. Everybody is doing it. They're walking around talking to themselves, labeling, judging, comparing, contrasting. I'm right, you're wrong. It's all a bunch of shit. It's all just a bunch of shit. It can have value, but when we start assuming that our perception of reality is more true or more absolute than another person's, that leads to a bunch of shit. That leads to war. That leads to jealousy. That leads to anger. It leads to I'm right, you're wrong, throwing bricks through windows to achieve social equality, just looking for an excuse to riot. So hard to quiet the mind, Michael says. Here's how you can do it. All throughout the day. Not just during a 15-minute meditation. Not during a dedicated physical practice. I am a huge proponent of a dedicated physical practice. I do my dedicated physical practices for about 2 to 3 hours every single day. So I'm not here to say that the physical practices and the dedicated practices are pointless. They're valuable. Having a dedicated... Okay, hold on. Yes, my thoughts are the same thing every day. So there is a way to think more creatively, to think more cutting edge, to have new thoughts, to have inspiring thoughts, to have beautiful thoughts. I am not just my mind, but my mind is fucking beautiful. I wish I could invite you guys in. I guess I kind of do when I do Facebook Lives. That's another way for me to invite you guys into my mind. So the limiting belief that we can't master our mind, or that it takes decades and decades and decades, no. Just because it took one person 30 years of breaking their body in an attempt to rein in the monkey mind, the untethered mind, maybe that worked for them, but I don't view that as the path with the least resistance. It's not necessary. True, the techniques do not work by the technique alone. You have to do it. So here's what you can do. Here's what I do, and here's how I did it. All throughout the day, I would check into my experience. Here I am. When I was working 13 hours a day, 12 hours a day, here I am in this kitchen with my friends, with this food. I smell the food, I hear the food, I see the food. It engages my senses. I love this life. All throughout the day, I check in, check in, check in. This is called mindfulness. I didn't invent this. So nothing that I'm telling you right now I can patent pen or trademark, because I did not invent the principles of the universe. They're dynamic and they've existed here far before the physicality that I call Ernest did. The physical transitioning body, if you will. And I would look at my stream of thought. Where is my mind now? That is something I told myself thousands of times throughout the day, because you know what? I told myself I don't have to live with this anxiety. I don't have to live with this confusion and this frustration in my life experience. I broke that limiting belief. I didn't need a therapist. I didn't need somebody for me to go deeper into because I don't address the branches of the tree. The root is the stream of thinking. All throughout the day, where is my mind now? Here's what happens when we ask that question. Where is my mind now? It's very simple. Where is my mind now creates the watcher. Who is observing the stream of thought? That's the awareness. Awareness is far closer to the totality of the human being and the human experience than the stream of internal dialogue all the time. So where is my mind now is a technique, but the technique does not work by the technique alone. It requires the gong fu behind it, or the accumulation principle of skill. You get best at what you practice most. Where is my mind now? Very simple. It creates the watcher. The watcher observes the stream of thinking. It's just a technique, but if you do it 100 times a day, 10 times a day, 1,000 times a day, you will find your mind. You will observe it, and you'll be like, fuck, there I am thinking that bullshit again. There I am thinking that dumb shit again. You know, I'm worrying about what the other person is thinking, worrying about what the other person is thinking about the other person and what they're thinking. That's just insane. And it causes anxiety. It causes frustration. Thinking about the past all the time creates depression. Not taking responsibility for our actions. It creates a lot of frustration, and we call that long-term psychological suffering. The psychological suffering that sticks with us for years, decades. Let me tell you now, you can upset that setup. We don't have to live that way. It's not that difficult to continuously, all throughout the day. So a lot of people, you know, it's, and I was that way for a little while, and it's, oh, I don't know how. And then when somebody would tell me how, I'd be like, oh, wow, that's how. And then I wouldn't do it. There's so many people who want to just be touched on the forehead and then, oh, enlightenment. Hey, maybe that works. I'm not here to limit you. Hi, Mark. Good morning. So I don't want to take the wind out of somebody's sail if that's what they're selling. You know, just touching them on their forehead and then they're just, oh, shit. I'm enlightened. Don't let me take the wind out of your sail. Keep doing what you're doing, that's fine. But that didn't work for me. What did work for me was interjecting awareness. Wherever you place the flashlight of your awareness, that will grow. Guess what? Most people have the flashlight of their awareness turned in to their internal stream of dialogue all the time, labeling, judging, saying the same thing in their mind over and over and over again that doesn't serve people, thinking thoughts about other people that doesn't serve them. How does me thinking somebody is stupid benefit me? How does me thinking that somebody is right or wrong or this or that benefit me or benefit anybody? It's a cycle. It's a stream of intellectual thought patterns that the brain gets in the habit of perpetuating and repeating. It's actually quite simple. It's actually quite biological in nature. It's not your fault. You know, the mind fundamentally is a survival mechanism. The brain is a survival mechanism. But we have this dope thing called the prefrontal cortex that allows us to override certain aspects of our brain. This was highlighted a few weeks ago by Matt Jeffs. Amazing work. I had been introduced to this work a little bit before that, but the way that he goes into the workings, amazing. Amazing. Yes, so here's the difference between mindfulness and conscious. Oh yes, the same with self-esteem, of course. Any type of negative self-esteem, where is it coming from? You're telling yourself that, you're thinking that, or worse yet, you're believing some bullshit that somebody else is telling you. That's their limiting beliefs. I don't have to believe the bullshit other people tell me. All esteem is self-esteem. You're always creating from the inside out, whether you know it or not. There's no other type of love than self-love. You are either feeling deep appreciation and love right now, or you're not. You're either aligned to that or you're not. Just like the flashlight of awareness, it works the same for love. It works the same for affection. It works the same for peace. You're either feeling it or you're talking about feeling it. You're either feeling it or you're not, as the case may be. I gotta tell you, I'm feeling it. I feel it more now than I ever have, and it's perpetuating. It gains momentum. It gets richer. It gets fuller. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful life that we're living. We just have to tune into it. So here's how it looks. Here I am. That's called just becoming present. And you don't have to say, here I am, every time. Eventually, becoming present gets easy. You accumulate skill at becoming present, and then you can just instantly become present. Easy peasy punkin' easy. But what doesn't go away, and it hasn't even really gone away from me, is I'm constantly, in a very relaxed way, Ernest, where is your mind now? Every time I do that, I create the watcher. Who is observing the stream of thought if that's me? How the fuck can I just look at my stream of internal dialogue if the internal dialogue is who I am? That makes no sense. However, you cannot observe the observer. You cannot observe your awareness. You are awareness. Oh, well, thank you, Sarah. I do not believe that enlightenment is a permanent state. It's not a place. You don't enter the state of enlightenment. Population 1. Enlightenment is only realized in this moment. Where is my mind now? Where is my heart directed now? Do I feel love in this moment? I gotta tell you, it is that fucking simple. Do I feel love in this moment? If not, change it. Why the fuck not? Why can't I continuously tune into the feelings that serve me, that benefit me, that radiate love outwards and helps everybody? No, you must go into the suffering. You must find out what event in the past. You know, I have a friend who is a therapist, psychotherapy. And she admitted that 20 years later, she is still seeing first-year clients because that shit's not working. Here's what will work. Yes, just a decision. It's a choice. Remember to choose. Remember we are awareness. Choose what serves us. Remember we are awareness. Choose how we want to feel. Remember that we are awareness and choose. Remember to choose. Remember to choose. That's the easiest shit you'll ever do. But you have to do it. And guess what? It gets easier. You gain momentum. You get best at what you practice most. Add a physical practice like Tai Chi or yoga or basketball or fucking badminton or running on the beach. Whatever you want to add, you can add that. And it will help. It will help affect the curve of momentum, the energy curve of momentum. Here's how you do it. Because I'm not here just to talk. I don't want to replace your thinking with another type of thinking and saying, ooh, you know, that's great, that's new. No, there's plenty of people doing that already. The whole New Age movement is just one type of thinking to a new type of thinking, thinking that somehow this thinking is better thinking than the previous thinking. Well, guess what? There's still a gross disproportional imbalance in how much you're thinking. Balance is power. Do you want to see the best example of balance being power? Right there. Can you see her? The sun holds all the keys. Expanding pressures balanced with gravity. Hydrostatic equilibrium. Thanks to that balance, all life on Earth is possible. All life in our solar system that we may not have found yet is possible because of balance. Now ask yourself how much you're thinking in internal dialogue in a day. Is it balanced? Or are we just changing our thinking to a different type of thinking, thinking that this thinking is somehow different thinking? It's not. You're still thinking. You're still thinking about doing. You're still wanting to do and not actually doing. Here's how we can do. So I do support physical practices. Dedicated physical practice, absolutely. I'm a huge proponent. I do it myself. However, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. I know many people who practice yoga every single day. Many people who practice Tai Chi every single day. Many people who do a physical discipline every single day. Where is their mind throughout the day? The other 1,400 minutes in the day. Worry is a waste of energy. But what is worry? Worry is an intellectual stream of dialogue in your mind that you're repeating to yourself about the future. A future that hasn't happened yet, and in most people's cases, a result of something they experienced in the past. So they're mixing their past drama with their future drama, and that's all kinds of shit. I don't want that shit, and I'm pretty sure nobody here watching this wants that shit either. So here's what we do all throughout the day. All throughout the day. Ernest, where is your mind now? Where is that stream of thought? The moment you do that, you have created the watcher. The watcher observes the stream of thought to assess it. You cannot be the stream of thought if you are evaluating and assessing it. You can never evaluate and assess your awareness itself. You can't step outside of awareness to observe it, because we are it. It's much closer to the totality of the human experience than thinking. Words. So, Glennies, I want you to create a new word. Hobblagobblagooga. That doesn't mean anything, because language requires, first of all, description. You have to be describing something. So all language is just a description. All concept is just a description. And then it needs agreement. If I say hobbly gobbly googa means sand, you'll be like, actually no, nobody thinks that, Ernest. It doesn't. Well, to me it does. Cool. I mean, but in no way, shape, or form am I going to be able to communicate with another human being by saying, I'm spending the day enjoying the gobbly gobbly googa. And people are like, what the fuck are you talking about, Ernest? Because all concept relies on a structure of language. All language is simply an attempt to describe. How do we get out of that? How do we get out of that vicious cycle of identifying with the description? Here I am, in this moment, in this body, with this breath, with this mind. Where is my mind now? What am I thinking about? Oh, I'm thinking about hobbly gobbly googa. Okay, no problem there. A few minutes later, 15, 20 minutes later, I'm starting to feel something. Like I'm starting to feel anxious. Oh, shit, wait a second. Where is my mind now? Oh, it's thinking anxious thoughts. Well, no wonder I'm feeling anxious. So I did an entire Facebook Live on the difference between feelings and emotions. You feel emotions. You can also feel a punch to the face. You can also feel the wind on your skin. You can also feel peace. Peace does not require internal dialogue. It has no circumstances. There's no thing that can bring you peace. Just like love. Love is unconditional. There is nothing outside of you that will ever create love. Love is something that you either tune into and feel or you do not. The feeling is a description of the vibrational frequency. Tesla, the entire universe can be described in frequency and vibration. This is true. Where is my mind now? Do I feel love? If not, change it. How? There's a lot of ways. Happiness requires definition. So because it's abstract, happiness can be defined in a variety of different ways. I put happiness under the emotion category. Maybe it does require a little bit of thought. And that's only because there's so many different definitions to what happiness could potentially mean. Peace is peace. It's the baseline. Love is deep appreciation for everything and nothing at the same time. It's the feeling of I feel good. We can tune into that anytime we want to. With choice, the power of choice, intention, will. Where is my mind now? Do I feel peace? If not, change it. So how do we change it? I call them tricks of attention. Deliberately, willfully, and intentfully placing your attention somewhere, on something, with choice. It can be the color blue. I don't give a fuck. All day long you can just say, today, I'm going to tune into the color blue. Yes, peace is the baseline. Boom. I agree. So maybe today I'm going to put my attention on the color blue. So all throughout the day when I say, where is my mind? I find the color blue. It may seem abstract, but it will build. It will build momentum. You will gradually, almost effortlessly, eventually, dissolve psychological suffering. How can we be witnessing the same sun? I'm not sure what you mean, Ida. There's one sun. Well, it's a star that we call the sun. It's right behind me. Because it's the same awareness. You know how people say we're all one, but then they have no idea how to actually describe how we're all one? It's like, yeah, man, we're all one. One love. And then it's like, oh, cool, explain that. How are we just one? And they're like, oh, you know, just one. Here's how we're one. There is one fundamental frequency, one fundamental energy that has always existed, always will exist, and is permeating absolutely every single thing in the universe. Intelligence, awareness. We can use different words to describe the same thing. Every grain of sand has intelligence. Its atoms have intelligence. Its structure fundamentally has intelligence. We are all, not somehow, Michael, we are sharing the same awareness. Your awareness does not age. It does not get older. It does not change. Your mind does, as the case may be, but awareness does not. We are sharing the same awareness. My awareness is the same as a dog's. That's why when you look into an animal's eyes, you see a little bit of yourself. We're sharing the same one awareness. That one awareness is filtering through Ernest's brain. And because my brain is so complex, because it's such a complex organism, it creates conceptualism. So the one awareness is filtering through Ernest's brain, creating Ernest's, essentially the construct of self. It's creating, and this is going through the bird. This is going through everything. So the awareness is going through the bird, going through the dog, going through the sand. But it's also going through my brain. And that creates the construct of self. Self-actualization. Your awareness is going through your brain, and that creates your consciousness. If you get hit really hard in the head and you fall down on the ground, you just lost your consciousness. You are completely unaware of the transitioning. Some people call that time. So the one energy that is permeating everything is awareness, love, intelligence, not smarts. Doesn't matter how many books you read. Remember, they gave 100 people, I think it was about 100, a puzzle. Some of them were genius level. The Crow figured it out first, because the people were using past information in an attempt to build on what was new and unique and that they had never seen before. But the Crow's intelligent. The Crow used its intelligence to solve the puzzle faster. There's a difference between knowledge, information, and raw intelligence. We are that intelligence. So Shelley, that intelligence, that awareness is being filtered through your human brain, which creates your consciousness. That consciousness is what allows language and concept to exist. And at some point in human history, we said, hey, I think I'm going to identify with that stream of thinking as who I am. Yes, the Florida sun is in Ireland. That is amazing. I think yours might be setting while mine is just rising. How do we do it? Here I am. Where is my mind now? And do I feel love in this moment? Because you deserve to feel fantastic every moment. We don't have to go through this life knee deep in bullshit. The bullshit that we're creating. So I take mindfulness one step further to deliberate choice, deliberate conscious creation. There are so many people who have mastered individual disciplines through intense focus, and yet their mind is still untethered. And then there are so many people who believe that you have to break your body to even begin to tether in the mind, to rein in the mind. That is not true. Transcendental embodiment approach means that all throughout the day we can continue to check in. That's mindfulness. Mindfulness is checking in. Mindfulness is being aware of the stream of thought. Change it if it doesn't serve you. Oh, I'm feeling angry. Fuck that. I'm going to change it. How do I change it? Tricks of attention. These are on my website. We have hundreds of them by now. So many tricks of attention. Quote cards. I would use a powerful quote that I would continuously check into to break the repetitive stream of thought, which will dissolve eventually, if not just relax, the attachment to the construct of self. There are so many master martial artists that I know that still argue. They're still under the assumption that their version and their interpretation and perception of reality is more absolute or more true. They're not there yet. So there are so many people who have done these physical disciplines 20 years, 30 years, and they have no peace. And this isn't a judgment. You can observe it. You can observe whether a person has peace or not. Are they arguing? There's no peace. Are they fighting, defending, clutching, clinching? There's no peace. That's attachment. Attachment to the construct of self. I'm not Buddha, so I haven't completely detached the construct of self, nor do I intend to. I have a beautiful fucking mind, and I love it, and I cultivate it, and I make it beautiful. And you can too. Everybody here can. You don't have to commit to a 40-year practice in the hopes that maybe you'll be able to tether your mind and end your psychological suffering, specifically long-term debilitating psychological suffering such as anxiety, such as depression. You can start now. On this one Facebook Live, I've given you enough information. Here I am. Present moment awareness. Where is my mind now? Basic mindfulness. And then choice. Oh, no, that stream of thought is something that I continuously think and have been thinking for years and doesn't serve me. So I'm going to choose to think something else. I'm going to choose to do something else. You're not avoiding the problem. You're creating the problem. You create the problem. If there's no lion, you know, nobody is threatening me physically right now, but your brain doesn't know the difference. So every single time you embark in the psychological suffering, your brain doesn't know the difference between real threat and immediate threat to your physicality, or what you're creating in your mind. Your brain doesn't know the difference. It will still have the same electrochemical physiological response that we call emotion. You'll continue to create that emotion over and over and over and over again. But you don't have to. It's not required. True, it seems like we all do go through psychological suffering. But I, every single morning, imagine an enlightened society where that's simply not the case. A society that does not attach and cling to the construct of self. They can have a self. They can beautifully cultivate it, rather than just always no mind. You know, no mind and you know, the Zen practices, that's fine. But for most people, they're not going to be able to navigate the island of the practical, aka your practical life situations, that way. What I do is I maintain 1 foot in the present moment. Tricks of attention, body awareness, all throughout the day, the Dantian. For at least 3 years, I was constantly putting my awareness on the Dantian. What does that do? Quite abstractly, it just breaks up the intellectual streams of thought that have been perpetuating and building for so long. You know, I've had people tell me how to do an internet business, Ernest. You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. No, you don't. Here I am on the beach making a living wage. True, I'm not ready to purchase the private jet just yet. We have a private business, SEAL Management Group, LLC, a lot of different ventures that are looking quite nice. I can't make you all sign non-disclosures agreements, so I can't talk about it in too much detail, but no, people are constantly putting their limiting beliefs on me, and I just do what I'm inspired to do. Here I am teaching, sharing, offering what's worked for me, on the beach, wherever I want to, whenever I want to. Because I dropped other people's limiting beliefs. I dropped the shackles that other people were trying to put me in. Trained to come back to center. And then from the center, choosing how you want to feel. So Simone, maybe today you want to feel sexy. You know, maybe today you want to feel romantic. Maybe today you want to feel excited about a vacation. Do that. That's okay. Are you doing it with awareness? Are you doing it with choice, or is it a part of a repetitive pattern? Because there's a big difference. So all I am endorsing, and I really started to nail these down when I worked at the movie theater. All throughout the day, because I didn't have a whole lot else to do, I would question my mind. I would observe my patterns of thinking. I identified many patterns of thinking, and usually it was thinking about what other people thought about me that was creating a high degree of anxiety for me. The way that I dissolved that psychological suffering was, 1, coming into the present moment. 2, checking in. Well, I guess checking in was the first one. Number 2 is evaluating the stream of thought. Where is my mind now? Check in, evaluate the stream of thought, and you can keep this shit binary if you want to. Don't make it difficult. It doesn't need to be. Is this making me feel good? Is it not? Is it helping me reach my goals? Is it not? Is it positive thinking? Is it negative thinking? Keep that shit binary in the beginning. There's no reason to make it difficult. Where is my mind now? Thinking that dumb shit. There it goes again. So it's not escapism to change it. How many times do you have to think dumb shit before you realize it's dumb shit? It's always been dumb shit. It will always be dumb shit, and there's no reason to continue to perpetuate it. Ernest, what about problems? What are you talking about? The vast majority of problems we're creating in our mind. And later I can teach you the art of allowing. So there's all kinds of things that this can lead to. Conscious creation, creating the life that you want. Doing things the way that you want to do them, without limits, without boundaries. And here's the most revolutionary thing I have ever done. Where is my mind now, and do I feel love? If the answer is no, then I'm very likely in some internal dialogue, or I'm judging somebody, or I'm worrying about poor me. It doesn't have to be that way. Do I feel love and appreciation? Give me another question that's more important than that. what else should I be asking myself other than that? Because you know what? If you start to answer that question more and more and more affirmatively, oh, I do feel love and appreciation in this moment, your life will change. Everything will change. You don't need a guru. You don't need a psychotherapist. You don't need all of the spiritual teachers. Maybe we need a reminder, somebody just to remind us of what we already know. Love that does not require a stream of thought, first of all, because that's not really love. That's why love very, very typically means nothing, because it means everything, just like fuck. It can be used in just about every single way that you can use a word. And love is the exact same way. But what I'm talking about is not abstract. I am not describing to you right now thinking, more ways of thinking. Abstract ideological terms and definitions do not serve us in real life, in this real island of the practical experience. So what do? Change it. Do you feel love? If not, look around. What can you possibly appreciate? In the beginning, I would literally name stuff around me. I appreciate this room. It's raining outside. That's a plus. I appreciate the ocean. That's a plus. And now some people be like, Ernest, that's awfully superficial. So? In the beginning, yeah, maybe. I'm labeling things outside of me. But eventually, when you do the practice long enough, you're like, hey, I appreciate this breath. I appreciate this opportunity to exist in this life experience. The opportunity to transition as a human being for a short time. That's fucking cool. I like it. I appreciate it. I appreciate this earnest body, this earnest mind. Because I've created it. I've cultivated it. Do you feel love in this moment? If not, change it. Because you can. It's always accessible. Always accessible. Just like peace. The baseline of inner peace is always accessible to us. There's always a step right in front of you, though. Otherwise, you get into abstract ideological bullshit. And I don't like that. And I have a resistance to abstractism, which is just more words. More words about words, more descriptions about descriptions, and then before you know it, we have a library full of books, and nobody is applying it. Nobody is crossing the divide between theory and application. Techniques. What do we do? How do we do it? All throughout the day. Ernest, you're starting to feel something that doesn't feel good. Where is your mind? Do you see, Simone, how what I'm telling you isn't abstract? Right? It's a doing. It's a step right in front of us. Here I am. I just became present. Where is my mind now? I just created the watcher, and I observed my stream of thinking. Yeah, I know about the snowbirds, Terry. I'm not a snowbird, I live here. Where is my mind now? And do these thoughts serve me? Keep that shit binary in the beginning. Is this what you want? Every single person watching this Facebook Live most likely will have their moment of transitioning out of the human experience. Life is transitory, or this life experience as a human being is transitory. There is no time to waste. Chances are, if you felt shitty more than your life's fair share. There's no reason to exist that way. There's no reason. Where is my mind now? Do I feel love? If not, change it. It takes practice. The accumulation principle of skill. You get best at what you practice most. Guess what? If you practice feeling love, you become more loving. You love your life. The life experience changes. If you spend all of your time labeling, judging, worrying, thinking that you're right and everybody else is wrong, you will create more of that. Wherever you place your awareness, that will grow. Here is my recommendation. Place your awareness on your heart. Place your awareness on appreciation for this life experience, because it's short. Every sage has mentioned this from the dawn of time. Jesus said, why worry about tomorrow when we have today? Of course, Buddha said all of those things. I don't need to quote him, or at least the popular Buddha. Do you feel love and appreciation for this life experience? If not, change it, because you have the power to. You don't have to think debilitating thoughts if you don't want to. You don't have to get caught in repetitive streams of thinking that don't serve you if you don't want to. Love is a word. We have created a word to describe. What we are describing is a vibrational frequency, a state of being that does not require anything. In that moment where I felt my heart was going to stop beating, where I felt that I was going to transition out of this life experience, I gave up. I was just like, this shit sucks. Like, my whole life has been pretty much suffering, psychological suffering, and in that moment, all I felt was love. All I felt was the deep desire to continue. I found out that in that moment that I can just love life itself, the opportunity to exist itself, outside of the construct of thinking, outside of the internal dialogue that is just always going and going and going and going. And I'm just like, man, how did this shit get started? Like, at what point did I just start thinking the same shit all the time, over and over and over? Terry, sometimes it's one moment. There's always just one moment. There's always just now. We have never existed outside of the present moment. So here's the process again. Because I don't want to just take people from one type of thinking to another type of thinking, thinking that we're doing new thinking and that somehow this new thinking is going to equate to these magical results. Abstract ideological thought patterns don't serve us at this point. We need a doing. We need something that we can do. So here's a suggestion. Write down a very powerful quote. Something that means something to you. It can be religious. What I'm teaching is not dogma. It's not even really a system. It's the systemless system. So let's write down on a little piece of paper a very powerful quote. Something that you just really love. Something that makes you feel good. All throughout the day, check into it. Here I am in this body, in this mind, in this life experience. Where is my mind now? If you don't like the answer, read your card. Wash, rinse, repeat. You'll see in my book, the language of the universe is simplicity. It is fucking simple. How do we feel good? You choose it. You simply choose. We don't have to identify with the words, the stream of thought that's constantly going through our mind. Hi Margot, good morning. We don't have to identify with that stream of thinking as all that we are. It's not necessary. There are ways that we can master our mind. We can master our thought processes. The limiting belief is that you can't. There's all kinds of people telling you that you can't. Why? Because you make a good consumer. We make good cattle when we're unconscious. I'm not cattle. I love cows, by the way. They're very intelligent creatures. But I am not here to be herded. This is my life. I will live it authentically. I will find joy. I will find peace. And most importantly, I can find love. Appreciation. Deep appreciation for this life experience. How did I dissolve my psychological suffering? How did I do it? By observing it, dissolving it, and changing the thought patterns that perpetuate it. This is the root of psychological suffering. This is the root of anxiety and depression. The stream of thought. The words going through your mind all the damn time. Repetitive. Good morning, Margot. Over and over and over again. The entire time that I've been talking to you, my big toe has been gripping the ground. I have smooth breath into my dantian, and I put my awareness on the throat chakra to make my words more concise. Jolia, the feeling of emptiness means that we're not choosing. A lot of people get to this feeling of emptiness because they believe that meditation and no mind is the end-all, be-all of spirituality. Did you know that dissolving completely and detaching from the construct of self is Buddhahood? You just became Buddha. You can ascend now to whatever. Who is doing that? I don't see one single person who has completely deconstructed and completely detached from the construct of self. And you don't need to. You can create a beautiful self. You can tend to your garden of your mind. Find your values. Find what is beautiful about your life experience and watch it grow. Now here are the principles, because I'm not making this shit up. This isn't the universe according to Ernest. That would be dumb shit, and I'm not interested in that. So the principle is, number one, balance is power. How often are you thinking in internal dialogue, words, labels, judging? What is the percentage? From the time that you wake up, from the time that you go to bed, how much are the words going through your mind? If there is no balance, we are violating that one simple principle of balance equating to power. But Ernest, where do we see balance as power in the universe, like in nature? There she is. You can see her, the sun. What about the ocean? There's all kinds of balances that allow something to exist. Balance is the power to allow it to exist. Now, where you place your awareness, that will grow. That's a principle. If you're thinking dumb shit in your life will grow. If you're thinking anxious thoughts, the anxiety will grow. Wherever you place your attention, it will grow. The light of awareness, picture it like a flashlight. Most people have that flashlight turned in on the stream of thought, the words going through their mind. It's constantly turned in, and they're just observing their stream of thought constantly. Guess what? You can direct that awareness anywhere you want to. I have found a lot of value in directing that stream of awareness to appreciation and love. That's all I have in my life experience now. I have people giving me love. I have people, creatures, all kinds of things coming into my life in a very loving way. We create our experience from the inside out. Where the mind goes, the energy flows. This is just obvious common sense shit, but nobody told me. I had to put this stuff together. Nobody told me that, hey Ernest, you're creating your mental streams of thought. You are creating your reality. I was like, oh shit. I am. Oh my gosh, I am. If I don't think dumb shit, you know one of the ways I figured this out? When I didn't do my homework, I would start to feel shitty. Until I went to play video games, and then I felt fine. And I'm like, wait a second, where I place my mind also creates the emotions. Emotion is a response. Electrochemical physiological response, either to external stimuli or internal patterns of thought, which is still a stimuli. The body doesn't know the difference. So here is my recommendation for you guys today, and then I'm gonna go do my beach stuff. I have my balls, Tai Chi balls. Where is my mind now? Do I feel appreciation in this moment? If not, change it. Change it with a quote card. Change it with a picture of somebody you love. Change it with something in nature that makes you feel good about yourself, that makes you feel good about this life experience that we're living. It's that fucking simple. Now, why does it work? Hey, I'm going to throw another principle of the universe at you called the accumulation principle. Every avalanche began with a single snowflake connecting to another one and exponentially creating another one, connecting to another one. The accumulation principle. You get best at what you practice most. If you start putting your awareness on what you appreciate and what you love, that will grow. If you continuously place your attention and your awareness on things that you don't have, you're going to have more not have. You're constantly going to be seeking, you're constantly going to be wanting, and it will constantly be unfulfilled. Until we place our awareness on fulfillment in this moment, the abundance of everything that already is. It was Buddha who said that the entire universe can be observed in a single grain of sand. Well, here are a fucking trillion times a trillion grains of sand. Where is my mind now? Do I feel love, appreciation, and joy? If not, change it. Because you can. Or you can choose another way, and that's fine. Don't let me float your boat. If you enjoy frustration, if you enjoy anger, if you enjoy elitism, if you enjoy unsatisfaction, and you enjoy being fragmented and never whole, continue thinking. Continue the attachment to the construct of self. That's fine. I'm not trying to change anybody. I'm sharing what's worked for me. Because I no longer have anxiety. I haven't been sick now in 6 years, except for I had my tooth removed, and I took pain medication right before getting on the plane. Yeah, don't do that. Well, and also I hadn't eaten, so it made my tummy hurt. Cold, flu, allergies, what is that? What are those things anymore? We can achieve perfect health. We can achieve perfect joy and love and appreciation for all that is. It's possible. Good morning, everybody. I'm actually about to shove off because it's getting warm and my hoodie is blocking the wind. I think St. Andrews State Park opens at 8 a.m. I'm getting my 15,000 steps in there a day. Smooth breathing. You want to know one of the first things that I truly, Terry, cure cancer. Yes, you can cure cancer. This has been well documented. Although scientists and doctors want to call it the placebo effect, it's a fucking effect. The mind has complete volition over the body. Cancer can be cured from the inside out. That's true. It's observable. It's happened. It's happening. The mind is a terrible thing to waste, stuck in streams of thought. So in the third phase of change, I start to talk about the construct, traps of attention, modern metaphysical enslavement, but I don't start there. There's a reason I don't start there. We'll get websites like Anonymous, trying to attack the social construct, but yet they're still attaching to the construct of self. That won't work. That's why we still have war. That's why we still have suffering. Because nothing has fucking changed. They've gone from one type of thinking to another type of thinking. And guess what? The mind likes it. The mind's like, ooh, here's a fancy new way of thinking. Here's my credit card. You can take my money. I feel great. And how long does that last? I talked to a person who went to a Zen retreat. They meditated for 6 hours. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You meditated for 6 hours. How did you feel? They said it was terrible. They're like, Ernest, it was fucking terrible. It was drudgery. I was like, well, did you feel good at all? And they're like, yeah, for about 30 minutes. After the meditation, I felt good. 6 hours of forcing yourself into a meditative posture to achieve 30 minutes of joy. Does that sound like bullshit to anybody else? Yes, no mind has value. Yes, allowing the sand to settle has value. I don't recommend trying to start there. Simple awareness of the present moment and mindfulness and choosing your stream of thought will help you find no mind. It will help the sand settle. You don't have to become a monk. You don't have to force yourself in uncomfortable situations just to prove you can. That's not necessary. Unless you want to, then by all means, again, there are many ways to float a boat. My way works. And I didn't invent it. I just go with rather than against. I follow the principles of the universe. I am not a guru. Thank you, Terry. I am not a guru. I am not a master of anything other than my stream of thought. And the only thing I teach are techniques. Techniques to help rein in the monkey mind. All throughout the day, in a way that works, in a way that feels easy. The way that I would do it in the beginning, and those who worked with me at the movie theater know this is true. I'm not making this shit up. Ernest, where is your mind now? Ooh, there it is. starting to think about what they're thinking about. I see the little chat bubble and then it goes away. And then I see the chat bubble and then it goes away. I'm like, fuck, why aren't they responding? Like, do they not like me? Like, did I say something? You know, have I made a mistake? There's the chat bubble. Oh, and it went away. There's the chat. Oh, and then it went away. Okay, wait. I feel those feelings. I've done this a million times. Now I'm going to go look at a tree. I'm going to go sit by the tree. I'm going to clear my mind and I'm going to feel good in the sun. Yes, chanting mantras would help. So what I would do, this is one of the things, and I call it the rule of 3. When my mind was in a perpetual state of thinking, a stream of thinking that didn't serve me, and it was powerful, I would use 3 tricks of attention. Here's what it would look like. I put my awareness on the dantian. You can't see that, but I'm putting my awareness on the dantian about 3 inches below my belly button, about 2 inches inside. Smooth breathing. No, I don't force a deep breath. The breath will become deep on its own if you just practice a smooth, even inhale and exhale. Not today. There's the mantra. And then I add movement, which is a 4th trick of attention. Dantian, smooth breathing, a mantra, and movement. There is no spoon. I am a master of my mind. These are my thoughts. This is my brain. I can master my own brain. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm changing the story. Because I didn't like the feeling of anxiety. I didn't like the feeling of choosing drugs and alcohol over just feeling fucking fantastic all of the time. It's a beautiful day. I feel love. I feel so much. The ocean, the wind, the sounds of children playing and enjoying their summer and their spring break. You know, I felt sad today because my family left. They came to visit me and they left. That's okay. I can allow that feeling. I don't need to change it. That feeling serves me until it doesn't. And then when it doesn't, I change it. Because if I don't change it, it will perpetuate into long-term debilitating psychological suffering. We were meant to feel. And that's what I teach. How we can feel our life rather than just think about it. So I do have a free course. You can check it out. I'm sure somebody will post it if they see it and they want to. Acceptance is coming into the present moment. You accept that you're in quicksand and then you get the fuck out. Am I right or am I wrong? I don't say, I am in quicksand. I will accept this and allow it. That's passivity. So there's a difference between exercising force, passivity, and adaptation to change. Adaptation. The evolution of species is directly proportional to the adaptation of change. Carlos, I'll use the words that I use, my man. This is Facebook Live and I can say what I want. However, I do tend to interject swear words strategically. And some people actually really like it. It's called authenticity. I'm not trying to pretend to be anybody that I'm not. And there's some people who won't like this, and I understand. There are a lot of people who are still attached to their construct of thinking, and they'll find what I'm saying threatening. And that's okay too. I love you. You need love more than anybody, right? People who feel the need to push their psychological suffering onto other people, they need our love. I feel it. When we did the Pay It Forward program, which is where a customer can buy food for somebody else. You know, they can buy the food for somebody who maybe has lost their house, or maybe they have lost their job or something like that. And then somebody said, Ernest, what about the people who don't really need it? What about the people who come in and they take a heart off the wall and get food that they don't really need? Do they? I think they need it. I think they do need our love. If they feel justified in stealing and taking advantage of something that is there for needy people, guess what? They need our love too. Anybody who jumps into a Facebook Live and talking about the things that I'm talking about, and they jump in and you know, they express their psychological suffering, hey, I love you, man. You need my love too, more than anything. And it's free. And it doesn't cost me anything to share it. I'm not prescribing behavior. You can do what I'm recommending or not. It doesn't really matter to me. I hope you do, because I want you to feel better, because you're just another aspect of me. We're all sharing the same awareness. That awareness creates consciousness. That consciousness becomes construct. Identification to the construct of self is the source of all suffering. Cool, well, I'll be here all week. So I'll be doing Facebook Lives on and off and on and on. So you can change it. I had gotten to the point where I gave up on life. I can speak about this from authority. There was a point where I was just like, this is stupid. The human experience sucks. And in that moment, when I gave up, all I felt was love. A feeling. And I've been tuning into that ever since. And what has that resulted in? Feeling absolutely fantastic, even when I don't, even when I'm sick. It's a choice. Here I am, in this body, in this mind, on this day. Where is my mind now, and do I feel love and appreciation? If the answer is no, I would change it. It's that simple. I would say no. Anything less than feeling appreciation and love is not good enough for me. That's what I want. That's my desire. My highest desire, my deepest love, is this life experience. Francisco, not specifically. But I do have experience with it. The number one addiction is thinking. And even worse is attaching to that thought as who you are and all that you are. I have a mind. I am not just my mind. I have opinions. I am not just my opinions. I am all of this and none of it at the same time. So let's get away from abstract ideological shit. Where is my mind? Do I feel love and appreciation in this moment? If not, change it. There's got to be some nature around. There has to be something around that you can look at. Pinch yourself and say, shit, I'm alive. There's always something that we can find, something that we can appreciate. And eventually that you gain skill, you gain momentum. It accumulates. The love that you're constantly placing your awareness on will grow. So that's where I'll leave you. A few principles. Number one, balance is power. Number two, the accumulation principle of skill. We get best at what we practice most. Number three, wherever you place your awareness, that will grow. I'm not making this shit up. This isn't the universe according to Ernest. I've just actually used the tools. Number one, balance is power. I do not want to think more than 50% of my day, or there is no balance. Number two, actually I forgot the order. Where I place my awareness, that will grow. So I place my awareness on love. Number three, the accumulation principle of skill, aka the snowball effect. The more I place my awareness on love, the more it grows in my experience. The more it grows in my experience, the more it is reflected in my life circumstances and situation. This is called going with rather than against. It's called allowing. It puts me in the position to adapt to change. The evolution of species is directly proportional to the species' ability to adapt to change. That's just a little bit of technical jargon. I am evolving because my mind is nimble, like bamboo. I can move freely because I'm not bogged down by my own psychological suffering. What is psychological suffering? Words going through your mind, creating the emotional response to stimuli. Electrochemical, physiological response to the words going through your head that we call emotion. Sadness, anger, frustration, jealousy, hate, envy. All of those things are being created by the thinking mind, and it's mud. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. I will be back, and every single day that I do a Facebook Live, I'll have that focused content, that focused stream, thing that we're focusing on. If I do it at home, I have PowerPoint presentations too. I'm getting good at this teaching stuff. Accumulation principle of skill. It turns out if you just share authentically what you've done, you can't go wrong. And everybody here has an authentic voice. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the love that you've shown me. I appreciate everybody who's been watching. You don't have to go and sign up for my free course, but it will help. I believe in it. It's had tremendous results. Oh, thank you, Heather. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys again soon. And I hope you guys find some love today. Find something to appreciate today. Even if you're not on the beach, there's something. When I was working 11 hours a day in the restaurant, I found appreciation everywhere. I don't collect shells. Awesome. Okay, so I'll see you guys again. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, a wonderful morning. I am going to enjoy this beautiful day on the beach. I'm going to do my Tai Chi with my balls. Yeah, I said it. I got my balls. Okay, see you guys soon. Love you. Bye.